The kitchen smelled of overcooked rice and worn-out hope. The small apartment was cluttered with second-hand furniture and toys left from when life had been slightly kinder. At the table sat Amara, her hands gripping a chipped mug, staring at the faint steam curling upward like the dreams she barely let herself imagine. Her two older brothers, Malik and Tariq, were bickering over the last slice of bread. Malik, 19, always the loudest, slammed his hand on the table, while Tariq, 17, retreated under the weight of Malik's temper. "Give me that!" Malik shouted, his voice echoing against the thin walls. "No, you've had enough already." Tariq snapped back, though his words lacked conviction. Amara sighed, running her finger through her long tangled hair. Her mother, exhausted from a double shift at the factory, sat quietly at the stove, stirring a pot that barely smelled edible. Her father had left years ago, leaving them to navigate a world that seemed determined to push them down. Bills piled up, school supplies went missing, and hope seemed like a luxury reserved for others. Yet, amidst the chaos, Amara held on to one fragile dream. She would become a lawyer, not for prestige, not for money alone, but to lift her mother and brothers out of the endless cycle of struggle, to give them the life her father had abandoned them from. Hello guys, do you want story like Amara's to come alive with powerful human-like voices? I use 11 Labs to turn written stories into immersive audio that sounds real, emotional, and cinematic. Whether you are a writer, YouTuber, audiobook creator, or content storyteller, 11 Labs gives you studio quality AI voices in minutes. Try 11 Labs here. Bring your stories to life and let your words be heard. School was no escape. It was another battlefield, though always buzzed with laughter, gossip, and whispers that carried like daggers. Every day, Amara felt eyes on her, some curious, some judgmental. The girls with neat hair and polished shoes glanced at her threadbare uniform with thinly veiled disdain. The boys whispered insults that cut deeper than any physical blow. During history class, the chair asked a question about constitutional law, a topic Amara had stayed up late reading about. Her hand shook slightly as she raised it. "Yes, Amara," Mr. Whitman asked, peering over his glasses. "The Magna Carta established the principle that everyone, including the king, is subjected to the law," she said, her voice soft but clear. A few students snickered. "Since when does she know that stuff?" One whispered. Another muttered, "She will never make it out of here." Amara ignored them. She had learned early that words could wound, but actions could build. At home, life was harder. After school, she would help her mother clean apartments for extra money, cook dinner, and sometimes settle arguments between her brothers. Malik was quick to anger, quick to blame, and quick to take whatever he could get. Tariq, quieter, often hid behind a screen of apathy, retreating into video games or music to escape the tension. One evening, as Amara carried a basket of laundry, her mother spoke quietly, almost afraid her words might shatter like glass. "Amara, I know it's hard. We have to keep going. I can't fight this alone." "I know, Mom," Amara said, placing the basket down. Her hands were raw from scrubbing floors all day, but her resolve was iron. "I will get us out, I promise." Her mother's eyes glistened. "You remind me of your father, when he was better than he turned out to be. But you are stronger, Amara. You can do this." School competitions were Amara's proving ground. While her peers joined sport teams or parties, she buried herself in debates, mock trials, and volunteer legal workshops. Every case she studied, every argument she rehearsed, was a brick in the foundation of the future she was building. Yet the path was lonely. Friends were few, laughter rarer. The teasing never stopped. One day, during a debate tournament, she presented a case with flawless logic and persuasive speech. Her classmates gasped, unable to deny her skill. But some still whispered behind her back, "Must be nice to have time to study while the rest of us work," one boy muttered, not realizing she had worked twice as hard after school to catch up. Amara clenched her jaw. She had learned that envy often masqueraded as criticism. She let it slide, letting her performance speak louder than words. The turning point came when she entered the city-wide mock trial competition. The case involved a family fighting to retain custody of a child against an unjust system. Amara poured her heart into the research, memorized every law, every precedent, every loophole. The day of the trial, she stood in front of the judges, her heart hammering. She saw familiar faces in the audience. Her mother clutching her purse tightly, Malik rolling his eyes but secretly proud, and Tariq hiding a smile behind his sleeve. She spoke with clarity, passion and precision. Each argument she made struck like her hammer against the wall of injustice. The judges, stern and experienced, leaned forward, captivated. By the end, when the verdict was read, the courtroom erupted, not in chaos but in applause. Amara had won. She had not only won the case but the respect of everyone who doubted her. Her mother's tears fell freely. Malik's jaw slackened in silent awe and Tariq finally stepped forward to hug her. "You did it," her mother whispered, voice shaking. "You are going to make it." "I promised," Amara said, tears strengthening, but her smile was radiant. Years passed, and Amara's journey became legendary in her community. She earned scholarships to top universities, often the only girl from her neighborhood in classrooms of strangers. She faced challenges daily: discrimination, financial barrier, and lingering self-doubt, but she never wavered. Her brothers, once obstacles, became allies. Malik learned to channel his energy into work and business ventures, inspired by Amaka's persistence. Tariq, once withdrawn, pursued journalism, determined to give a voice to those who had none. And her mother, who had sacrificed everything, finally rested knowing her children were building a future she had only dreamed of. Amara's first case as a real lawyer involved defending a woman wrongly accused of theft. She poured everything she had into the defense, uncovering evidences that others had overlooked. The courtroom was tense, but her logic and determination prevailed. Her client was free and justice had been served. The victory was more than professional, it was personal. Every struggle, every sleepless night, every insult she had endured led to this moment. One evening, after returning from a particularly grueling case, Amara sat by the window of her modest apartment. The city light stretched endlessly, a mosaic of opportunities she had fought to reach. She looked at her reflection in the glass. The girl who had once felt invisible now radiated strength and purpose. Her mother placed a hand on her shoulder. "You did it, Amara. You really did it." Amara nodded. "And we are not done yet. This is just the beginning." She knew her journey would never truly end. There would always be more cases, more people in need, more injustices to fight. But for the first time, she felt the weight of life lifting. She had transformed hardship into power, weakness into skill, and pain into purpose. And through it all, the girl who once silently endured the taunts of her brother, the whispers of classmates, and the absence of a father had become a beacon of hope. Amara had proven one simple truth: your past does not define your future. With determination, courage, and heart, even the most impossible circumstances can be overcome. I know you enjoyed the story. Ensure to like, subscribe, and share the story. And don't forget to turn on your notification bell so you don't miss an upload. Thanks for watching.